Now, we are going to listen to Honorable Chief Guest, a world-renowned, universally accepted expert on artificial intelligence and machine learning, Professor Nishchal Verma from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. He is not only a great academician and researcher, he is a great human being as well, a person with a very noble heart, which I myself have witnessed many a times. I proudly invite Professor Nishchal Verma, sir, and I request all of you to virtually clap for him.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So, Professor P.C. Trivedi ji, Vice Chancellor, Jai Narayan Vyas University, Jodhpur. Dr. C.V. Sharma ji, Dr. S. Anand ji, Professor Saini ji, Professor Jasraj Bohra ji, Professor Raman Kumar Dave ji, Professor Krishna Goyal ji, Dr. Chitesh Maharshi ji, and my dear colleagues and friends. It is indeed an honor for me to be part of this 2 days international webinar on e-business and cybersecurity organized by Dr. CVS Cyber Security Services, LLP, Jaipur, in association with Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, Jai Narayan Vyas University, and Indian Accounting Association, Jodhpur branch. First of all, I must congratulate the organizing committee for taking this initiative to conduct a very wonderful webinar and having such an interesting theme and eminent speakers like C.V. Sharma ji, Professor Saini ji, Anand ji. Cyber security is a very important topic and it has very severe consequences when not properly dealt or addressed, as we have just heard the expressions by Dr. C.V. Sharma ji. It focuses on keeping network security and information safety, from hackers. Cyber threats can have ramifications for individuals, businesses, and in some cases, entire nations. So, upcoming trends for cybersecurity include increased automation, mobile services becoming a threat to businesses, especially the IoT, Internet of Things devices, becoming targets for hackers, business training employees to deal with social engineering, which is really a challenge nowadays, and cyber threats resulting in tougher regulations, as was just discussed in the beginning of this session, and possible legislations. So I would like to speak on with couple of slides, if permitted, artificial intelligence little bit and its relevance with the cyber security, including the deep learning. So if permitted, because I know we are running sort of time, so if permitted by the moderator, I would like to go ahead.
Chief guest, and we want to listen to you, sir. You can take as much time as you like.
Thank you very much. So let us, let me first share the slide.
Video.
Mixed fruits.
Audio muted. All audience, please keep your audio muted.
So is the slide visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's visible, sir. Artificial intelligence and deep learning.
Excellent. So let us now uh, get some flavor of artificial intelligence and deep learning, and then how it is related or how it can help in dealing with cybersecurity problems. We can just understand in simple terms. Although the time is very short, but I'll try my best to relate these two. So artificial intelligence, as we all know that it is nowadays, everyone is talking about not only the artificial intelligence, but deep learning, cyber security and all right. So let us first understand the intelligence. What is it basically? So intelligence is nothing but the capacity to learn for problem solving, especially the decision making, right? So it is a measure, we can say, it's a measure of capability or capacity to learn. All right. So we can now say that faster is the learning, or faster learning, better is the intelligence. All right. So we all know this, right? Natural intelligence now, this helps us right from the childhood and to learn and then make decisions accordingly. And it varies from person to person in in human beings as well as in animals, right? So you see, but the grade of intelligence, the grades are different. So it's the capacity again, and then based on that, the it helps us in making the decision. So we have talked about the natural intelligence in living beings. All right. So now the question is the way we behave, the way we make decisions based on our acquired, you know, parameters, learning. I would say, acquired learning capabilities or the acquired experience. Based on that, we make decisions, right? So that is God gifted, and these are all possible because of the biological neuron in our brain, neurons in our brain, and especially I would say the biological neural network, right? That contains billions of neurons in human beings, and all the functions are being carried out, and based on that we make decisions, right? So the question is, how can we make the machines, the robots, the non-living beings intelligent, so that the way we make decisions, they can also make decisions. So that is what is the question. So this is an attempt that I'm going to make you understand as to how we can embed intelligence in non-living beings like robots, machines. So this is also called machine intelligence or artificial intelligence, right? And when we say artificial intelligence, it means that mimicking the human intelligence, right, for non-living beings. So we can say that the artificially created capacity to make non-living beings, machines, learn to mimic the human intelligence, like humans, make decisions. So when we have that kind of capability, that kind of capacity in the machines to learn, and based on these learning, they can make decisions. They can acquire certain, knowledge through parameter estimations, through adapting, in the situations, and make decisions, right? Acceptable decisions, right? So all these are possible, and there's a popular term nowadays, you might have come across, is machine learning. So that is what it's all about, right? So machine learning is actually helping us in embedding the intelligence into the non-living being systems. All right, so let us now understand quickly what are the major advantages, right? So there are, of course, so many other advantages, but you see, the major advantages are here. that if we talk of machines, right? So machines basically, they do not require sleep or breaks and are able to function without stopping with same efficiency. Right? So this means what, right? Like human beings, right? They need sleep, they need breaks, and if they are not given these, they cannot perform with the same efficiency, right? But machines, if um, they these machines are properly learned, right? They can work with the same efficiency. Similarly, machines can continuously perform the same task without getting bored or tired, right? So as far as the quality of the product, let's say if they are they are deployed in any industry, they can perform the task with same quality, right? So machines are needed to carry out dangerous tasks, right? Wherever there's um, uh, a place where humans' life is at risk, right? Machines can go and work. So machines are needed to carry out dangerous tasks where the human health and safety are at risk. So that is another very important advantage where as to how that artificial intelligence helps us in embedding intelligence into the systems, especially robots and other machineries. All right, so let us now go to the history of AI. Although philosophically, the history of AI is well before, right? But when we talk of the engineering, with engineering perspective, we see that Allen's Turing machine is the landmark, and it was in the year 1937 when universal computing machine was created by Alan Turing. So this was the time since when we see that the AI has come into being, right? But please understand that AI's formal name was not there even that time. Also, a lot of things had happened, afterwards. But it was the year 1955 when John McCarthy, right? He coined the word artificial intelligence, and since then this AI terminology is being used. So formally, AI was artificial intelligence word was coined by Professor John McCarthy in 1955. Right. So how, in what way, artificial intelligence is acquired, right? So there are certain agents of artificial intelligence, and these are called artificial intelligent agents. And these are, you see here, they're mentioned. So simple reflex agents. There are n number of agents, but these have been classified into 5 majorly. So simple reflex agents, and then model-based reflex agents, and goal-based agents, utility-based agents, and learning agents, right? So there are so many artificial intelligent agents are available, and these have been classified majorly into 5 categories. I would just briefly talk about the learning agents, right? So major learning agents you might have come across. You see, everyone when they go through ANN, right, artificial neural network, or even otherwise machine learning, also talk about artificial neural network, fuzzy logic, genetic algorithm, right, evolutionary computing. All these words are coming, right? So when did it start? So it was the year 1942-43 when Warren, McCulloch, and Pitt. So they created a computational model, the mathematical model of a biological neuron, right? And that was that neuron, that mathematical model of the neuron facilitated the learning, right? So and this learning was facilitated because the parameters we were able to learn for that neuron, right? So then afterwards, in 1957, perceptron came into being. This is also kind of this is in fact a neuron, but since it has a different kind of the activation function, so it was named as perceptron, right? And then in 1960s, major inventions, major propositions have happened, and one of them is here genetic algorithm, right? In 60s were developed. Nowadays, very popular strategy for optimization, where whenever we do not even have the physics of any system known, the genetic algorithm helps in managing, estimating the parameters of it. So another one is very important proposition was fuzzy logic theory. Another one is a deep learning. So fuzzy logic was proposed by Professor Lotfi-Ejade in 1965, and at the same time, deep learning was also being proposed. I will discuss about it in this lecture. So in 1970s, afterwards, the evolutionary computing came into picture, and that's how the journey of AI started. And you can see here in the left side, on the left side, you see the biological neuron, a single neuron. Right side, you see the mathematical model of it. And here, and from here, the learning strategy has started for embedding the intelligence into the non-living being systems. So an artificial neuron contains basically the activation functions, and normally the non-linear by nature, and it has several incoming and outgoing weighted connections. So incoming normally resembling the dendrites, the output basically the axons and axon buds. So I'm not going into details of the neural networks, because I know the attendees here are from different backgrounds. So but I'm just briefly introducing these so that if you are interested, can go and further read and understand. And then comes the the neural network, where the neurons are connected together to perform certain processes. Right? So normally, like in our brain, tens of thousands of neurons are connected together to carry out some single process. Right? So likewise here also in artificial neural network, right, where the artificial neurons are connected together to perform certain tasks. So you can see here the feed-forward neuron, the neural network, which is one of the category of artificial neural network. So this is normally called as the learning, right? Learning process, normal learning. But here there are certain issues. The issues basically are the when we try to make these models learn, right, for acquiring the artificial intelligence, right? There are issues, challenges, and these challenges basically include the initialization, right? Because normally the parameters to these networks are basically initialized randomly. So random initialization is the very major challenge. And then global optima means it doesn't show global optima. So to recover this, to overcome these challenges, the deep learning comes into picture. So deep learning is very, very interesting and very emerging area. And what is happening here is basically deep learning is little, if we understand the normal learning, as I just explained, that when we have any learning strategy normally happening is, but we normally do not use the normal learning, right? So it's a learning, normally machine learning. So if we have a neural network, right, and conventional ways, it will make them learn. So this strategy is normal learning or machine learning, normal learning. But if we have multiple layers of learning for the same process, right? Let's say we are repetitive, we are repeating these learning strategies as a single strategy, right? So it becomes deeper, right? So it means here that the parameters are these are um, um, uh, these parameters are very deeply learned, right? So, and these are needed when we have a very complex model, we have a very complex process, which when we say complex, it means that either the system has highly non-linear characteristics present, or very high grade of uncertainties present in the system. Then these kind of systems, these kind of deep learning strategies help uh, us better in embedding, mimicking the intelligence in non-living beings. So let us now understand first the uh, history of it. So as I mentioned, right, in 1965, Professor Lotfi Ejade proposed fuzzy logic theory, fuzzy logic uh, concept. Here in 65 itself, uh, Alexei Grigorovich Ivanko and Lapa, in 1965, he proposed the deep learning strategy. But deep learning did not progress much because the deep learning strategy was this, and there was no deep learning efficient strategy was present. The deep learning term has been coined that time, and people tried, even a backpropagation algorithm, which is very popular, was existing at that time, but it was not very mature, right? So we had some kind of idea that this stepwise learning could be the better idea, but since the lack of because of the lack of the strategy, it could not gain any importance. So deep learning as a subject, it deals with a set of algorithms developed to achieve deeper intuitions, as I mentioned, and it is hierarchical, right? So we first learn, we have the course learning, then fine tuning, and then we keep on managing this till we get the very close match of the uh, desired parameter. All right. So you see here in 2006, Hinton, Bengio, and Lacun. So the teams basically published three research works, three strategies, and that all these three papers were on deep learning strategies, and they applied this very efficiently and shown the its better performance. And here is the time when the learning strategy, the deep learning strategy, successfully was proposed, and so it was working well. And since then, now on, the deep learning is exponentially rising. So this was all about the artificial intelligence and deep learning. I hope these artificial intelligence in simple terms as much as I could, and then deep learning, how the artificial intelligence is different from deep learning. Basically, it is not different from deep learning, but is a strategy of embedding the artificial intelligence for complex processes and systems. So this having known, now let us go to the cyber security and see as to how these can help us in managing cyber security well. So we all know cybersecurity is a very popular term, and cybersecurity is basically the practice of protecting systems, networks, and programs from digital attacks, right? So these digital attacks, we know this by the term cyber attacks. So cyber attacks are usually aimed at accessing, changing, or destroying sensitive information, extorting money from users, or interrupting normal business processes. All right. So these are the threats. Like when we talk of cyber security, so what are the threats? Threats are, nowadays very common. Everyone knows. Everyone is facing these challenges these days, right? Those who are using systems, computers, networks, or even IoT devices, Internet of Things devices, cyber physical devices, right? So cybersecurity threats are, phishing is one of the threats. So phishing is the practice of sending fraudulent emails that resemble emails from reputable sources. The aim is to steal sensitive data, as was talked by Dr. C.V. Sharma ji in detail. And it's nowadays it's very common, right? Sensitive data like credit card information or other bank information, right? Bank related account information, login details, and then you are gone. When everything is done, right? You are out of the network or out of the loop, and the rest of the things will be done by the cyber hackers. So it is the most common type of cyber attack. So filtering malicious emails can prevent such attacks. Right? And another one is ransomware. We normally, see these malicious software. So this ransomware is a kind of malicious software, also known as malware. So malware is very popular, very commonly talked malicious software. So it encrypts the victim's data until the hacker is paid a predetermined ransom. Right? So that is very interesting. Typically, the attacker demands payment in form of cryptocurrency, another very interesting term. So, like Bitcoin, right? So only then the attacker will send a decryption key, right, through which you can decrypt and get all your information back. So this is very interesting. And then this malware basically is nothing but it's an intuitive software, and that is designed to damage and destroy computers and computer systems as well. So malware is a contraction for malicious software. So examples of common malware include viruses, worms, Trojan viruses, spyware, adware, fileless malware, and ransomwares. All right. Another very interesting term is social engineering. Nowadays, being practiced, and social engineering we can say is a tactic that adversaries use a trick you into revealing sensitive information. Right? So they can solicit a monetary payment or gain access to your confidential data. So the social engineering can be combined with any of the threats already mentioned to make us more likely to click on certain links, right, or download certain softwares, right, maybe from the malicious source. Right. So all of these basically are very challenging, issues, and implementing the effective cybersecurity measures to tackle with is highly challenging nowadays, as there are, this very important point that we need to understand, right, that these attackers are getting more and more acute. They are also working as hard as, even more harder than, we are trying to find the ways to get shield of it. So we can say that implementing effective cybersecurity measures is highly challenging. And it is because, right, there are more devices than people, and attackers are becoming more and more innovative. So that means they are getting more equipped, right? And so what happens when we use AI in cybersecurity? Right? So what AI can do for us in cybersecurity? So let us first understand that as I just mentioned that we have nowadays more number of devices than human beings, and even further it is spreading, right? So AI helps us in AI can create certain models of it, right? Artificial models, right? And which will have faster detection of some anomaly, right, in the network or in the systems. So faster detection, the network security, can quickly detect through machine learning. Like if it differs from the normal pulse of it, it can quickly detect. Then phishing detection, right? So secure authentication, right? Behavioral analytics is another one which AI is helping a lot, and preventing online frauds. So AI basically will help us in managing, right, in recognizing those threats before they can come into our network system processes, right? So when we talk of AI, as we have seen that AI and deep learning. So now, so as I mentioned that these attackers are getting more equipped, and they are using better and better, um, armaments, right? In terms of the better softwares, better tools. So this means that it is not normal and high. They are making things very complex, and to deal with those complex and highly uncertain, embedded programs, right? The deep learning is very, very effective tool nowadays, and that's how we say that deep learning in AI has become extremely effective tool for cybersecurity. So this way, we have seen that as to how AI, deep learning, and cybersecurity is very, very helpful, and these together can do wonders, and they can prevent from these cyber-related negative issues. And I'm not going to take further more time, because time has already is very we have already taken more time than what was assigned. So with this, I would like to conclude. Thank you very much for bearing with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Nishchal Verma, sir. First of all, for showering blessing on us. Secondly, I mean, your subject knowledge, I mean, the kind of knowledge you are having, and the way you share it is just above excellent, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And
Thank
I think to tell you, our senior most professor of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, JNV University, and chairman of Jodhpur chapter of Indian Accounting Association, Professor Jasraj Bohra, sir, to thank all those who made this international webinar a sweet memory of knowledge transforming into wisdom. And this webinar, we have devoted it to the superannuation function of Professor Jasraj Bohra, sir, only. He's a great leader. Sir, I now give the mic to you for your thank you notes.
Thank you, Dr. Chitej. Being the president of the webinar, it's my private duty to express my vote of thanks to all participants, all delegates, and all respected distinguished speakers and the chief guests also. It's 2 days webinar's final validity, and I express my vote of thanks to Ma Saraswati, who has given us the opportunity, and this day we have been successfully managed that both the sessions today and yesterday very successfully and effectively, and all were audible, and every participant were able to listen each and everything. Then I shall express my sincere gratitude and respect to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor P.C. Trivedi sir, and formal vote of thanks. Being a chief patron, his blessings were always with us, and he has given a always a inspiration and a limelight to get the such type of webinars successfully and to hold it. I shall express my vote of thanks and sincere gratitude to whoever we were listening him. The today's chief guest, Professor Nishchal Verma from IIT Kanpur. He has given a very thought-provoking and a very learning topic, artificial intelligence, which has become the part of the life today for the academicians as well. And I'm very thankful to you, sir, for sparing the time for us and available and very thought-provoking lecture you have delivered to us. I'm also thankful to today's speaker, Professor Anand, we have given a marvelous lecture on the economic scenario and what is going on today and how the COVID-19 has affected the economy all over the world and particularly to India. I'm very thankful to you, sir. I have listened to each and every line of the lecture and it was a really marvelous one. I shall express my gratitude to you. I shall be thankful to Professor Vijay Sani sir from the New Zealand. He has given a very effective and a prominent lecture on the topic, and I shall be expressing my gratitude to you, sir. I'm definitely and feel honored by expressing my gratitude to the today's keynote speaker, Dr. C.V. Sharma, who is converted IPS, who is converted academician from the IPS. One can understand the service of the police in the Rajasthan particularly, and then to convert himself into an academician very effectively, and he has started the CBS security services, which is security services, which is very effective and useful to the individual and to the state and to the country as well. I shall also, it will be my duty to express my vote of thanks to Professor K.K. Agarwal. Yesterday, he was the chief guest of the function, and he has also delivered very effectively to us, and we have listened to him, and we are very much pleased and informed with various new things. I am also thankful to Dr. Sunil Gupta, Professor Sunil Gupta, Professor Akhil Misra, and not less than Professor Justin Paul from US, who has delivered a very thought-provoking, and this webinar has been successful by their lectures and their availability and their presence. I shall express my vote of thanks to Mrs. Swati Vasisht and her team who has made this webinar successful, the technical team, Mr. Sachin, Mr. Mudit, and all that, and all other persons who were involved at here. I will be missed if I want give my vote of thanks and my heartfelt congratulations and regard for Professor Goyal, who has been able enough to get this webinar successful, and he was just interrupting in between, and as well he was also introducing each and individual speaker and very effectively, and he has collected all the data and gathered himself and spoken very well, and he has also given very points on the topics and the issues on which we were discussing on. I shall be thankful to Goyal. And it's a webinar on we are in the virtual world, so I can't give the standing ovation, but I'm very thankful, and I love for Dr. Kshitij Maharshi. He has delivered, he has given this opportunity to me on my superannuation on 30th June. I'm just going to depart from this university particularly, but otherwise I will remain active and I shall do something ahead for academic world. I shall be thankful to Dr. Kshitij Maharshi. He has given an opportunity and organized the whole webinar very effectively, his team, and definitely all persons connected to him. I shall be thankful to Renu Jatana ma'am and Akhil Ranjan Garg and all other Rakesh Sharma Sahab and all other dignitaries who were available in the audience, and they have given us encouragement and inspired us by their presence. Thank you to all. I'm very thankful to all and individual. Over to Sitish.
Now we have with us Professor C.B. Sharma Sahab. He is an expert in the field of cyber security. Professor C.B. Sharma is senior cyber auditor. He is world-renowned cyber security expert, and his glorified experience also includes that of an outstanding and decorated former Indian Police Service officer. He is proud recipient of very prestigious President Police Medal. His deliberations today will certainly around cyber security for corporate, legal mandate, and international standard. The main theme of our webinar is e-business and cyber security. And I know the cyber security is the threat for not only the expert but everyone, for a common man also. And many of you must be having many queries. I'm sure your queries will settle down during the lecture, but if you have any queries, each and every query you can settle down with our today's expert, Honorable Dr. C.B. Sharma Sahab. So with all respect, due respect, I invite Dr. C.B. Sharma Sahab to deliver his speech. Dr. C.B. Sharma Sahab.
Thank you. Do you hear me well, sir?
Yes, audible.
Is it audible?
Very much audible.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir,
Om-
audible.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitmastu Ma Vidyusavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. First of all, I pray to Almighty God, may the knowledge shared be brilliant and there be no animosity in both of us. That's why the participants online, the webinar, and me, the speaker. Pay obeisance to Lord Ganesh Ji to complete the webinar successfully, Ma Saraswati to give knowledge and thoughts and synchronize with the need of the time, and pay homage to my parents to bless us. Now, Mr. Wells has introduced me, but a little in a different way. First, I'm not a professor. I'm retired police officer. Before joining the police services, I did my MSc in microelectronics, and during the active police service, I did my LLB because it was needed there in the administration of justice. Then PhD in student police relationship. That's why they call me as professor, but I'm not a professor. Anyway, let us come to the main theme, and that is the cyber security. What is this cyber security? Let us come to straightway to that thing. So, then the cyber security, and the today's topic is cyber security for corporates in legal mandate and international standards. So we will discuss first one by one what is cyber security, body corporate, what are the legal mandates, and what are the cyber security international standards. As we know, the general perception about cyber is something related to computers. But when we discuss cyber security, legal mandate and international standardization to achieve that cyber security, the security of the cyber system, if we should also know the ingredients of cyber security. So how we define cyber security? It is the characteristic of culture of computers, information technology, virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence and machine learning, encryption, dark web, and cryptocurrency. All these are included in the definition of cybersecurity. The special characteristics of computers, as we all know, that it performs three functions: arithmetic, logic, and memory functions, and it processes the data at a very high speed. So when we provide security to computer, why we want to know? When we want to provide security to the computer system, we adopt such controls and reviewed procedures that no one can communicate with or instruct the arithmetic, logic, and memory functions of a computer resource. That is the basic requirement for the cyber security. If we want to secure the computer system, we have to stop all that. We have to protect the system, like the information technology, because it is a characteristic of culture of computers and information technology. So what is this information technology? It's the study, design, development, implementation, communication, storage, retrieval, security, and security management of the computer-based information. So it is the computer-based information. Basically, it is the security management of computer-based information. So there are two things. One is the information. So what are the ingredients of information? Normally, we have the perception of information, but in the context of IT, the information includes data, message, text, image, sound, voice, codes, computer programs. All that is included in the definition of information. Then in security management, as we know, the information is qualified by the computer-based information. So what is that computer-based information? And then we always talk about the data. Whenever we talk about the cyber security, we want to protect data. Our data has been infringed. Our data has been stolen. All that. So what is data and what is this information? We talk about the information management system and security of information, as well as we talk about the data. So there is a correlation between information and data. Data is defined as the representation of information. Means data is definitely an information, but it is qualified as if it is prepared in a formalized manner, processed in a computer system or computer network, and maybe in any form stored in the memory of the computer, the internal memory of the computer, then that information is called data. So in the IT world, we call it data. Now, what is cyber security? You know, cyber is the culture of computer information technology. But what is this cyber security? It is the representation of information, the protection, the information which is represented in the computer. So it's basically the in protection of information, the equipments, the devices, computers, computer resources, communication device, and information stored there. So basically, it's the protection of information and the protection of all the devices which contain the information or which is the information processed in those devices or the computers. We protect them. From what? From the unauthorized access. It's used. Once it is unauthorizedly accessed, it may be used, misused, disclosure, disruption, modification, destruction, all that. How do we do it? We can't do it through the physical controls because it is tangible and it's intangible. It's not the tangible. So we can't provide the physical controls. So we have to control it, protect it through the technology, processes, and practices to ensure preservation of confidence. Why do we want the preservation, the security of the information? To ensure preservation and of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. When we talk about the security of data in an organization, the data is available in the computer resources, such as first is the endpoint. We are talking about the information which is there in the computer system. So the endpoint includes desktop, laptop, or the communication device, smartphone, to which we generate the information. Then next is the network. Network includes internet, intranet, LAN, WAN, Wi-Fi, hotspot. So nowadays the e-business is all on the internet, LAN, WAN, Wi-Fi, hotspot. So we are more concerned about the protection of networking also. Then third is the network devices. These are the firewalls, switches, routers, etc. Then processors and servers. Then storage. Storage media may be server, maybe hard disk, maybe in the data center or in the cloud. And the other things we have to protect is the communication, the emails and websites, or the applications, the web applications, the mobile applications, the database or software. So in the process, we have to protect the data in the above computer resources available in the infrastructure of the corporate. Now, we know a corporate, what is a corporate? Is it formed to an association and endowed by law with the rights and liabilities of the individual. But we have a different definition, slightly modified definition when we talk about the legal mandate. In the Information Technology Act, in section 43A, this is defined as the body corporate, means any company or include a firm, sole proprietorship or other association of individuals engaged in a commercial or professional activity. So what type of individual associations, maybe the company, maybe the firm, those who are engaged in the commercial as well as professional activities, they are termed as the body. After COVID-19, all body corporates, industries run their business through e-business or e-commerce, in which all the transactions are carried out by means of electronic data interchange. That is to say, we use the web, internet, intranet, extranet, or the combination of these nets to conduct business. Most of the organizations are running their offices on the policy of work from home only. Since the e-business or work from home, e-learning, e-banking, trading, etc., depend on the internet and other computer resources, all the related information or data are available on network or in the endpoint or in the processor or in the storage media. Since the electronic data exchange had no geographic or physical boundaries and is virtual in nature, it is global phenomena, hence uniformity of law was needed. Legal mandate. Now, what is the legal mandate? Means the law. So, looking to the global nature of cyber, the first of time United Nations Commission on International Trade Law adopted one model law in 1985. So, it starts from 1985. Again, it was amended in 2006. The model law, which was adopted by Commission on International Trade Law, was adopted by the UN General Assembly and they passed the resolution 30th of March 1997. And they advise all the member states. The resolution recommended that all member states, when they enact or revise their law on e-communication, should give favorable consideration to the said model law in view of the need for uniformity. So the uniformity is very much required and it is a global thing. There is no physical boundaries. To give effect to this resolution and to facilitate electronic filing of the document, so that is the first time the international mandate was given for the cyber security. And when they recommended to all the member states, so in India to give effect to the resolution and to facilitate filing the documents and to promote the efficient delivery of government services by means of reliable electronic records. Listen, it's through the reliable electronic records, the Parliament passed an act in 2000, and that is the IT Act 2000, Information Technology 2000, which is the start of Indian legal mandate for cyber security. So the international legal mandate for cyber security starts with the resolution in the UN General Assembly, and the Indian legal mandate starts with the IT Act 2000. The thrust of the whole system is to make the information which is generated or produced, received, processed, transmitted, or procured, stored in a computer resource system it should be authentic and reliable. So it should maintain its confidentiality. How can it be authentic and reliable? It should maintain its confidentiality, integrity, and availability. In IT Act, Information Technology Act 2000, Section 43A was incorporated very late in 2008 to protect the data of person taken, processed or stored in the computer resource which the body corporate owns, controls or operates. And it was expected from the body corporate, that was the legal expectation or the legal mandate, that the body corporate shall take the reasonable security practices and procedure. If the person is caused wrongful loss because of lack of reasonable security practice and procedure, he will be liable to compensation. Though punishment is not awarded under the Indian law at present or data laws, it is only the compensation under Section 43A. Under the international legal mandate to protect the data, the first of all European Union (EU) enforces General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR) on May 25, 2018, which is applicable to all data controllers or processors established in EU. Secondly, those who are processes or monitors the personal data of individuals who are in EU, European Union, or the data controller or processor established outside EU where law of any one of the EU countries apply. In all the three conditions, this GDPR is applicable. Under GDPR also, the penalty for non-compliance of the provisions of data protection. They have said that data protection of an individual is a fundamental right. It is his fundamental right. So for data protection, the non-compliance of data protection provisions of GDPR, the penalty is up to the tune of 20 million euro or up to 4% of the total worldwide annual turnover, whichever is higher. That is very important. So means the minimum penalty is 20 million euro. And if the 4% of the total worldwide turnover, annual turnover goes higher than this 20 million euro, then that is applicable. But under this GDPR also, there is no punishment for punishment, imprisonment, no punishment. Then in India also, because under Section 43A, there was no strict punishment or the quantified penalty was not there. So the Personal Data Protection Bill, data protection is the fundamental right. So this is nowadays the present legal mandate in Section 43 IT Act. No, it is not compatible with the present IT security scenario because everyone is worried about the protection of his own data. So looking to the scenario, it is not compatible. Then the Government of India prepared Personal Data Protection Bill 2009 and in the Personal Data Protection Bill, in which personal data, sensitive personal data, they are defined, and there is the proviso of penalties, compensation, and punishments also. Now, the penalties imposed there are to the tune of 5 crores or 2% of total annual turnover, whichever is higher for non-compliance. There is also provision of punishment for knowingly, intentionally, or recklessly. The new term is recklessly. In all other legal mandates, there are two things, knowingly or intentionally. But there are some legal acts, especially even this is the OS Act, Official Secret Act, where the negligence, there is a punishment for negligence also. In Data Prevention Protection Act also, the provision has made for the reckless. So offering recklessly, obtaining, transferring, disclosing, selling or offering to sell data The punishment is up to 3 years for the personal data leakage and 5 years for the sensitive personal data. So the new punishment section has been added in the bill. So it is in the Lok Sabha and it has been forwarded to the team of MPs. So they will scrutinize it and then put up in the Lok Sabha and it will pass very soon. Then international standardization for the security data. We have already discussed that cyberspace has no geographical or physical boundaries. The security of the cyberspace of the data should be, so the security should be on the international standards. Thus the cyber security for securing the data in the cyberspace, the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, and the International Electrotechnical Commission, shortly ISO and IEC, they both specialized global standardization they form, and the ISO, which is an independent non-government international organization. I think we all know it was established in 1947. Initially, there were 67 technical committees and 164 national standard bodies. And the International Standard Organization, there were about 23,244 standards for various disciplines. They deal with the various disciplines. The standard for information technology security, this starts with ISO 27001. So all those who are dealing with the cyber security, they might have had this ISO 27001. So these are the standards. And there are about 49 ISO standards for the cyberspace. This 27001 is basically to protect the data in all the systems we discussed, right from the endpoint to the processor and all that. Now, how it started, the Joint Technical Committee prepared this international standard ISO IEC 27001 just to provide requirements. What are the requirements for establishing, for implementing, for maintaining and improving an information security management system? So that is the international standard. This ISO has prepared ISMS, Information Security Management System, just they have institutionalized it. The need and objective of organization, its security requirements, size and structure of the organization. The ISMS is different for the different organizations. It all depends what are the objectives of the organization, what are the security requirements, what is the size and structure of the organization, what is in IT infrastructure incorporated in the establishment, and that is to implement ISMS of the business. So for every organization, there is different type of ISMS looking to the need of the organization. So when we talk about ISMS and ISO 27001, in the Indian context, as per IT Act Section 43A, we require reasonable security practice and procedure. And what is the reasonable security practice and procedure, and what is the data we talk about? To protect what data and what type of security practice and procedure. So they have made a rule that is information technology, reasonable security practices and procedure, and sensitive personal data or information rules 2011. So in 2011, they incorporate the rules, and in the rules they have defined what is the sensitive personal data. Rule 3 says the sensitive personal data are of 7 types, right from the password to the physical physical and your medical history, your sex orientation. There are 7 types of data under Rule 3. And Rule 8 of the Rules 2011 also the so the sensitive personal data or information defined in Rule 3, password, the financial information such as bank account, credit card, debit card, or other payment instrument details, physical, physiological, mental health condition, sexual orientation, medical record and history, biometric information, and any details relating to the above. So these are 7 types of the sensitive personal data. And now how should they be protected? What is the reasonable security practice and procedure? That is in Rule 8. And Rule 8.1 says these information security programs, they should have the information security programs and information security policy. So what are these information security policies? Under the ISMS, the ISO has prepared the ISMS, and in ISMS 27001, in 5.11 says that every corporate shall have the documented information security policy as needed by the organization, the security of the organization. So this 8.1 says they should have the information security programs and information security policy that contain managerial, technical, operational, and physical security measures. And then section 8.2 also says that the international standards, ISO IEC 27001 is one such standard. The other standards are COBIT, one is the COBIT, other is the ITIL, and fourth one is the cyber security framework. So Rule 8, reasonable security protection procedure and sensitive personal data or information, defines the requirement of reasonable security practices, implemented international standards, all that. Now this ISMS, which is under the ISO IEC 27001, it has 140 IT security controls. For the security, we have the controls. And under the ISO 27001, there are 114 IT security controls, and each and every corporate is required for the reasonable security procedure to adopt this ISO or any of these 4 COBIT, ITL, cyber security framework, and they have the security controls. The security controls are of 2 types. Since it's the intangible thing, so we have the physical controls as well as the logical controls. Logical controls means that of the software. Your software are also protected, and all the computer resources, they are protected. So logical as well as physical controls, and there are about 114 IT security controls, 18 control objectives. The objectives are 18. For the cyber security of an organization, this ISO 27001 ISMS requires 11 information security policies as per the ISO. And this is under Rule 4 of the Information Technology Reasonable Security Restrictions Rules. Cyber security audit of the infrastructure, which constitutes gap analysis of the existing security controls and any of the international standards. It's vulnerability assessment. First is the gap analysis. Second is the vulnerability assessment of all the computer resources. Then penetration testing, exploitation of the vulnerabilities found in the computer resources. Then the mapping of network, the risk assessment, identifying the non-conformities and their compliance is to be conducted every year or as and when the system is upgraded. Because when the system is upgraded, its logical security is changed. So when the system is upgraded, we have discussed till now the cyber security, international legal mandate, and international standardization for information security management. There may be a number of questions. One thing, yesterday, Professor Agarwal, his lecture was really very thought-provoking. In the last, he mentioned one thing, that the quantum of cyber incidents or the cyber crime is not that much. I slightly differ. It is not that much if the security standards or the security procedure are adopted. It is exactly like the COVID-19, the virus. The virus wants the warrior. But in the cyber, it doesn't want in the cyber space, the virus it doesn't want the warrior. It can travel with an immense speed throughout the world. Throughout the world. The coronavirus wants a courier, and that to a human being. And no carrier is available, then after some time it dies its own death. So we have to take only 3-4 precautions for the coronavirus: social distancing or physical distancing, wash your hands, sanitization, and all that. But in the cyber field, you have to take the physical as well as the logical safeguards and protection. Otherwise, it's very dangerous. And if you take the precautions, it definitely helps. It pays dues both ways. Coronavirus is either harmful or zero. But cyber it is so useful, as Professor Seni was telling just now. But the condition is you have to take the proper precautions, proper protection, and you must know the vulnerabilities of system which you are using, and you must plug the vulnerabilities well in time. So I think there may be a lot of questions, but we will take up in the question answer session. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. C.V. Sharma, sir, for enlightening us through your deep knowledge of the subject. Karen, I'm glad to see all the participants. I don't have access to see